All right. Um, so what we got going on this section, we're going to look at what we call comparative advantage, and this is mainly used for specialization and like looking at who should specialize in what countries, and they're looking at trade. They're also looking at opportunity costs. So what are they having to sacrifice when in order to make goods and services. So kind of like with the production possibilities curve, what are they sacrificing in order to make the other product, and vice versa, and things like that. So, all right. So a couple just vocab words here. You got absolute advantage versus comparative advantage. Absolute advantage is super easy. It's basically who can just make more of a product, and this will make a little more sense as we'll go through an example together. So it'll make a lot more sense. We'll get to it. Comparative advantage is going to be who has the lower opportunity cost. So remember, opportunity cost. What are we having to sacrifice? What's that most desired alternative that we're losing when we make a decision? So in these examples, we're looking at like if you're going to make one product versus the other, how much do you have to sacrifice, kind of like per product, to make that the other product here. So we're going to kind of go through an example, and then y'all are going to have some practice problems to kind of work on. This can be a little tricky, so if you do have questions, shoot me an email or something, and I'll do my best to get back to you and help you figure it out. So what this looks at, again, we're looking at specialization. So when you specialize in something, you're kind of focusing on that one particular item. You're looking at who can make this product the best, who can make it the fastest, and if that's you, then you're going to want to specialize in that product. It's going to probably make you the most money at the end of the day, and you're going to be able to produce it the fastest. It's going to be the most efficient for you. All right, so we're going to look at an example. We're going to use two best friends, Donald Trump and Joe Biden. They're going to throw a little party making pizzas and cakes, and they're trying to decide, who should produce what. So basically, who's going to be the most efficient at producing each item. They can't both produce all of, we can't have Donald Trump producing all the pizzas and ovens, and you can't have Joe Biden doing the same. We have to split it. They can't put 100% into both things. So which one is going to make sense for them? So here's our example. All right, we have Donald Trump. He can make 2 cakes per hour, and he can make 6 pizzas an hour. And then on the other hand, Joe Biden can make 4 and cakes an hour, and he can make 8 pizzas an hour. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out the absolute advantage and then the comparative advantage for each one. And here we go. So absolute advantage. So again, all we're doing is we're looking at who can produce the most of each particular item. Okay, so it's pretty simple. Who can produce more cake? Well, you look at Joe Biden, he can make 4 an hour, Trump can make 2 an hour. So Joe Biden would have the absolute advantage for baking cakes. Okay, we'll do the same thing for pizzas. We'll see 8 pizzas to 6. Joe Biden, again, has the advantage in making pizza. Okay, so he has the absolute advantage for both. It's not always going to be that way. That's just the way this example is. So don't think like if one person has the absolute advantage, they're going to have it for both items. That's just the way it's going here. Get that out of here. So pretty simple. Biden has the absolute advantage for both. Okay. So comparative advantage. Now this is where it can get a little tricky. So comparative advantage for cakes and comparative advantage for pizza. Okay. So what it comes down to, and we're on the next slide, I'm going to show you kind of how we get this. So Biden has it for cakes, Trump has it for pizza. Okay. And so we'll kind of skip, down here. We'll skip to the example here. Okay. Let me hide that. So comparative advantage for cakes. Okay. So what we want to do is whichever item we're looking at. We want to get that item to 0. Okay, so remember, Joe Biden could make 4 cakes an hour. Okay, Trump could make 2 cakes an hour. Okay, so what we do is we need to get the 1 cake down to 0. So we simply divide by 4 here. Okay, so that gets us 1. Well, if we do that to this side, we need to do it to the pizzas as well. So again, Biden could make 8 pizzas an hour. So we divide that by 4, and now he's at 2 pizzas. Okay, so what we just did is we basically came down to 1 cake is equal to 2 pizzas. Okay, this is the opportunity cost right here. So if he wants to bake a cake, he has to sacrifice 2 pizzas per cake that he makes. Okay, that's his opportunity cost right here. Okay, 2 pizzas. All right, if we do the same thing with Trump, he started with 2 cakes an hour. Okay, so 2 divided by 2, we get 1. Now we need to do the same thing to pizzas. We got to divide pizzas by 2. So he can make 6. So that leaves us with 3 pizzas here. All right, so 1 cake for him cost him 3 pizzas. Okay, this is his opportunity cost, the 3 pizzas. So who is sacrificing more, okay, to make a cake? Well, Trump has to sacrifice 3 pizzas, and Joe Biden has to sacrifice 2 pizzas. Okay, so who has the lowest opportunity cost? So who is sacrificing the least amount to make the cake? Okay, that would be Joe Biden. He only has to sacrifice 2 pizzas, whereas Donald Trump has to sacrifice 3 pizzas. Okay, so the comparative advantage for cakes would go to Joe Biden because his opportunity cost, which is his 2 pizzas, is less than Trump's opportunity cost, which is 3 pizzas. Okay, and this is how you write this. So if it asks you, write the opportunity cost, this is how you get that done right here. Okay, this is the opportunity cost. Okay, so we do the same thing for pizzas. Okay, we just flip it. Okay, so we start again with pizzas here. So we need to get this to 1. So divide by 6. 2 cakes divided by 6 pizzas is 1/3 of a cake. Okay. Same thing for Biden. He can make 8 pizzas an hour. So let's get that number down to 1. Divide by 8. Okay. 4 divided by 8 is half of a cake. Okay. So here's their opportunity cost. Okay. The opportunity cost, 1 pizza costs Trump 1/3 of a cake, whereas Biden, 1 pizza will cost him half of a cake. Okay. 1/3 is smaller than a half. All right. So Trump has the advantage for pizzas because his opportunity cost is lower. Okay, so whoever sacrifices the least of the other product has the comparative advantage. Okay, so 1 pizza is going to cost him 1/3 of the cake, whereas Biden's going to lose half of the cake. All right, third smaller than a half. So Biden has a greater opportunity cost. Therefore, he does not have the comparative advantage for pizza. Okay, so what it comes down to is you have Biden has the comparative advantage for cake, and Trump has the comparative advantage for pizza. Okay, so what y'all are gonna do is work through some problems. If you need to, you can go back and look at this. This kind of explains it. You'll have it. You'll have your notes here. Take your time. If you're confused, email me, ask your friends. These are practice problems. You need to submit them, but they're also, I just treat them as daily grades. Basically just to make sure you understand and you're getting the right idea. Okay, so that is comparative advantage.